I wanted to talk to Amin about what's going on with J.J. Redick and Charles Barkley because, if basketball has been about storylines and basketball is great at making players and personalities stars, right? Because it's so much better than the other sports. It's almost kind of weird to see what's happening with basketball, where basketball's biggest stars are bigger than football's biggest stars, even though football is the biggest sport. And at the height of all that, the Lakers are fascinating. They've got the oldest player in the league who defies science and gravity and picked his own coach, a podcaster who nobody likes.
Oh.
J.J. Reddick, to be clear, I like someone who is publicly confident, says so, and doesn't care what you think about it. He's been this since Duke. I like it. That doesn't tend to be likable, especially when it comes from Duke. A lot of people do appreciate that later in his career, J.J. Redick was very good at the content game at explaining basketball, really knew his stuff, but then became a coach for the Lakers. And now Charles Barkley is going after him in a way that nobody wins fights with Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley knows it, which is why he keeps saying over and over, if you come for the king, you better not miss. I have a platform. It's bigger than yours, even as Laker coach. Mm-hmm. I will bury you.
Yeah. No, look, I think it's all born out of a misunderstanding, to be honest with you. So if you don't know, J.J. Redick made some comments about, that he was asked about, hey, people were saying that the ratings are down. And it's because they shoot too many threes. And J.J. Redick kind of pushed back on the notion that the league is the style of play. Is there anything wrong with it? He says the players are more skilled than they've ever been, or at least since when he came in the league.
Certainly from three.
Yeah. Well, he's skilled overall. He said the players are more skilled and more talented today than they were 20 years ago when he first came into the league. And he said he thinks a reason why this discourse is happening is because there are a lot of people who talk bad about the game, right? Now, he said that without naming any names. Charles Barkley took that as, he's talking about inside the NBA specifically, and that's why Chuck went off on him and leveled him with, what can only be described as Operation Shock and Awe. J.J. Redick was asked, hey, what did you think? And he gave, we broke this down on Basketball Illuminati, a response that was, he clearly lost the battle there. He said, I don't care. I have some thoughts that I don't care. And I'm like, JJ, you can't do that. But this is what happens when you're used to arguing people online versus arguing someone real life. And that Charles Barkley takes that round. But I submit to you, this was all a misunderstanding and that he wasn't talking about Charles Barkley or inside the NBA. You know who he's talking about, Dan? Y'all. And specifically, that red-jacketed joker in the back over there. All that mess prior to Christmas break, when I yelled at Mike, and Mike got upset that I yelled at him, and when I patted him on the back to let him know, hey, man, we're just doing show, he was like, and he tried to pat me on my back. Like, he's talking about you, man. He's talking about you and your negativity around NBA basketball.
That's cool. I wasn't watching. Thank you for updating me on the situation.
Mm-hmm. I will say, as it regards some of this stuff and the packaging, framing, and you're pretty astute as a front office guy on marketing type of issues. I remember Scott Boras, the super agent in baseball, said a long time ago during all the work stoppages and all the fights over the money that get fans really mad. Baseball is the only sport that takes a product off of the produce aisle, a can, throws it on the floor, kicks it all over the floor, then puts it back on the shelf and asks you to buy it.
Huh.
ESPN ran off Jeff Van Gundy and NBA ran off Jeff Van Gundy because that's too negative talking about the sport. We need a framing that's not quite – don't criticize the officiating all the time. You're great at what you do, but we need the voices to be a little more positive. A problem the NBA has is the people on its most popular show don't like today's form of basketball either. Shaq wants it in the post. Barkley plays down low. Kenny Smith will play along. Your biggest property doesn't always seem like it likes how they're playing today.
It's honestly something that College Game Day should monitor, because what people love so much about college football is this tribalism, this fun that's associated with it, and it's veering off into Surly Town, where we're not having as much fun and we're just complaining about fans the entire time. And we're saying that the games are bad, even though we're the ones that air the games and hype the games up and have hour-long specials telling you, hey, these might be the games in a couple of months. So it's something that everybody should monitor.
Mike, do you know why it's happening?
Social media?
Yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
it. We went from, whether it was the leagues themselves or the broadcasters, crafting how we're going to talk about this product, to checking online. What are people saying? Oh, people are saying this. Let's follow that. Letting the cart lead the horse rather than the other way around. And I think it's a massive problem. Look, in the 90s and the 2000s, what was the league slogans for the NBA? I'll stick for NBA.
I
for
love
now.
this game.
I love this game where amazing happens. And now it's like, what's trending? Too many threes. The number of people who said, oh, there was a game where 75 three-pointers were missed combined. And I'm like, you're talking about the Charlotte Hornets? Who cares? Mm-hmm. It would be like judging college football by what happened in Liberty versus Elon.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I get you, and social media is look, it's toxic, and it seems as though the algo is just going to make it more and more toxic, but I'm not really I'm at the level of disinterested where I didn't really start filing my complaints on social media about baseball. If I'm asked about it on this show, I'll tell you my stale take on that, even though I credit them for making the changes that I was asking for. Basketball, I'll catch up. If my team's good, that has a lot to do with it. I'll follow back up with basketball if the Heat ever become good again or they fix the things, because I have no interest in watching these top-level games.
I think my point about social media isn't that, oh, we should get rid of it. It's the people who control the product should stop following it, stop listening to it, because ultimately, for the most part, people will believe what you tell them to believe. Like last time when Amici was here and I talked about the idea that I said, hey, what do you guys miss? What you really miss is the Kurt Thomas mid-range baseline jumper and the Tyrone Hill pick and pop. In the next week or so after that, the number of talking heads I saw on, not referencing me, but just echoing that same exact, oh, you guys just missed mid-range shots by role players. And I'm like, while you are bolstering my point, I'm like, this is also making my grander point, which is we need to just stop this echo chamber, right? And again, that's fine for fans
This
and people.
is not an echo chamber.
The league, you asked me from a league perspective, they need to control the narrative. And that starts with, yes, a meeting with the commissioner and everybody who broadcasts league partners, TV and radio and elsewhere.
Kirk Herbstreit has solved this problem. He came out and said, my son runs my social media accounts for me. Every tweet I've been sending, it's actually been my son, which is definitely the biggest lie of the year.
What?
Yeah, no way.
He didn't
no
say
shot.
that.
He literally did. He was like, I'm not on social media. My son runs my. He said, a buddy, actually my son runs my account. No shot.
That feels like
you're lying.
Did his son send out his own congratulations for committing?
Yeah, absolutely. His son has been really active online, offering prayer support to everybody. He's been tweeting like crazy, but not Kirk Herbstreit, who does love to go on air and be like, the Ohio State fan base is vile. They're so nasty online. But how would you know that? Because your son runs your accounts.